Everything you can imagine is real. Logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. When someone loves you, the way they talk about you is different. You feel safe and comfortable. We are what we pretend to be. So we must be careful about what we pretend to be. I believe that imagination is stronger than knowledge. That myth is more potent than history. That dreams are more powerful than facts. That hope always triumphs over experience. That laughter is the only cure for grief. And I believe that love is stronger than death. Anyone who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. You never have to change anything. You got up in the middle of the night to write a spit all night. Stories of imagination tend to upset those without one. The moment you doubt, the stories of imagination tend to upset those without one. I thought I should repeat that one. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you're a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic being buyer. If you're a pretender, come, sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come on in, come in. You can't depend on your eyes when your imagination is out of focus. My imagination functions much better when I don't have to speak to people. A well composed book is a magic carpet on which we are wafted to a world that we cannot enter in any other way. Imagination is like a muscle. I found out that the more I spoke, the bigger it got. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Our imagination flies. We are its shadow on the earth. Imagination does not become great until human beings are given the courage and the strength. Use it to create. Vision is the art of seeing things invisible. Imagination is the golden-eyed monster that never sleeps and must be fed. It cannot be ignored. I believe in the power of imagination to remake the world, to release the truth within us, to hold back the night, to transcend death, to charm motorways, to integrate and ingratiate ourselves with birds, to enlist the confidences of madmen. Imagination is the only weapon in the war against reality. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. The good speakers touch life often. The mediocre ones run a quick hand over her. The bad ones rape her and leave her for the flies. There are painters who transform the sun to a yellow spot, but there are others who, with the help of their art and their intelligence, transform a yellow spot into the sun. I'm closed in a room. I'm closed in a room. My imagination becomes the universe, and the rest of the world is missing out. Children see magic because they look for it. Imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go to nowhere. At the healthy body that is the best fashion statement, because when you are imagining, you might as well imagine something worthwhile. My imagination will get me a passport to hell one day because fear kills everything. Mohad, I once told her your mind, your heart, your imagination. Reason is intelligence. Taken exercise. Imagination is intelligence with an erection. I am certain of nothing but the holiness of the heart's affections and the truth of the imagination. Without leaps of imagination or dreaming, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. The tree which moves some to tears of joy is in the eyes of others only a green thing that stands in the way. Some see nature all ridicule and deformity, and some scarce see nature at all. But to the eyes of a man of imagination, nature is imagination itself. Lovers and madmen have such seething brains, such shapen fantasies that apprehend more cool reason ever comprehends. The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. One sees more devils than vast hell can hold. That is the madman, the lover, all us frantic, see Helen's utmost beauty in a brow of Egypt, the poet's eye, and find frenzy, rolling doth glance from heaven to earth, from earth to heaven, and as imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes and gives to airy nothing a local habitation and a name. Let us leave pretty women to men with no imagination. Looking back, I guess I used to play act all the time, but one thing I meant I could live in a more interesting world than the one around me. Reality can be beaten with enough imagination. My imagination makes me human. It makes me a fool, gives me all the world, and exiles me from it. The cost of oblivious daydreaming was always this moment of return, a realignment with what had been before, and now seemed a little worse. I remember she called me, Peyton Manning called me as soon as I got out to Denver. He started the conversation by asking me, when did you get in? We mainly just talked to get familiar with each other. V-Day, if you need this one day and a year to show everyone else you truly care for your loved one, and I think it's quite stupid. I hate that commercialism is all artificial and has nothing to do with real love. Imagination governs the world. Spitting, writing, speaking is a job, a talent, but it's also the place to go in your head. It's the imaginary friend you drink your tea with in the afternoon. You are lucky to be one of those people who wishes to build sandcastles with words, who is willing to create a place where your imagination can wander. We build this place with the sand of memories. These castles are our memories and inventiveness are made tangible. So part of us believes that when the tide starts coming in, we won't really have lost anything because actually only a symbol of it was there in the sand. Another part of us thinks we'll figure out a way to divert the ocean. And this is what separates artists from ordinary people, to believe deep in our hearts that if we build our castles well enough, somehow the ocean won't wash them away. I think this is a wonderful kind of person to be. My head will explode if I continue with this escapism. When you're socially awkward, you're isolated more than usual. And when you're isolated more than usual, your creativity is less compromised by what has already been said and done. All your hope in life starts to depend on your craft, so you try to perfect it. One reason I stay isolated more than the average person is to keep my creativity fierce as possible. Being the odd one out may have its temporary advantages, disadvantages, but more importantly, it has its permanent advantages. It's strange how dreams get under your skin and give your heart a test for what's real and what's imaginary. It's delightful when your imaginations come true, isn't it? Hate is a lack of imagination. Hate is a lack of imagination. Watching television is like taking back spray paint to your third eye. Watching television is like taking black spray paint to your third eye. There are no rules of architecture for a castle in the clouds. Truth is a matter of the imagination. If you had started doing anything 2 weeks ago, by today you would have been 2 weeks better at it. When I speak a book, I put in all the imagination I can so that it is almost like spitting the book as well as reading it, or rather, it is like living it. It makes reading so much more exciting, but I don't suppose many people try to do it. Poetry, anger times imagination. Poetry equals anger times imagination. People don't read anymore. It's a sad state of affairs. Reading's the only thing that allows you to use your imagination. When you watch films, it's someone else's vision, isn't it? Some might think that the creativity of imagination on flights of fancy that give me my life meaning are insanity. Imagination was given to man to compensate him for what he is not, a sense of humor to console him for what he is. The world of reality has its limits. The world of imagination is boundless. Maybe you could be mine, or maybe we'll be entwined, aimless in this sexless foreplay. Because, explain, married, or roamly, simply, the child must have a valuable thing, which is called imagination, which the child must have a secret world in which live things that never were. It is necessary that she believe. She must start out by believing in things not of this world. Then, when the world becomes too ugly for living and the child can reach back and live in her imagination, I, myself, even in this day and at my age, have great need of recalling the miraculous lives of the saints and the great miracles that have come to pass on earth. Only by having these things in my mind can I live beyond what I have to live for. Sometimes loneliness makes the loudest noise. You seem so far away, Miss Honey, whispered awestruck. I was flying past the stars on silver wings, Matilda said. It was wonderful. I suppose it's not a social norm and not a manly thing to do, I feel, to feel disgust, feeling so that's what I'm giving the finger to on social norms and stuff. What good are social norms really? I think all they do is project a limited and harmful image of people. It thus impedes a broader social acceptance of what someone or a group of people might actually be like. The speaker's curse is that even in the solitude, no matter its duration, he never grows lonely or bored. A book is a device to ignite the imagination. Love what you do and do what you love. Don't listen to anyone else who tells you not to do it. You do what you want, what you love. Imagination should be at the center of your life. Please touch me, I pray. David, you never have to grow up. You don't have any kids. I'm infinitely spit in a world of imagination. This, an idea is salvation by imagination. It might be a good idea if, like the White Queen, we practice believing 6 impossible things every morning before breakfast, for we are called on to believe what to many people is impossible, instead of rejoicing in this glorious impossible, which gives meaning and dignity to our lives. We try to domesticate God to make his might actions comprehensible to our finite minds. My imagination is a monastery, and I am its monk. You may think I'm small, but I have a universe inside my mind, a world of infinite imagination inside of my mind of rhymes. If someone is here, if something is there, you can only see it with your eyes open. But if it isn't there, you can see it just as well with your eyes closed. That's why imaginary things are often easier to see than real ones. Imagine like the memorial of John Lennon and Strawberry Fields in Central Park. We lay there and looked up at the night sky, and she told me about stars called blue squares and red swirls, and I told her I never heard of them. Of course not, she said. The really important stuff they never tell you. You have to imagine it on your own. And one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The latter procedure, however, is disagreeable and therefore not popular. You speak rabbit, asked Princess Sophie. Of course, said Lady Ariana, and cat, and dog, mouse, pig, and chicken, fish too. I am a magician, after all. I'm the great magician of rhymes. I'm spending an infinite imagination of infinite rhymes to the end of time. Let your creative and imaginative mind run freely. It will take you places you never dreamed of and provide breakthroughs that others once thought were impossible. Butterflies and zebras and moonbeams and fairy tales. That's all she ever thinks about, riding with the wind. To know is all. To know is nothing at all. To imagine is everything. There was a single blue line of crayon drawn across every wall in the house. What does it mean? I asked. A pirate needs the sight of the sea, he said, and then he pulled his eye patch down and turned and sailed away. And people who don't dream, who don't have any kind of imaginative life, they must go nuts. I can't imagine that, as it is working for God, not a boss. Maybe you will get a raise in consciousness when God takes out the trash. Don't go digging back through it. Trust him. The man who cannot visualize a horse galloping on a tomato is an idiot. If we were to love our neighbors before doing anything else, we must see our neighbors with our imagination as well as our eyes. That is to say, like artists, we must see and not just their faces, but the life behind within their faces. Here it is, love. That is the frame we see them in. But I wasn't listening. I wasn't stopping because we were already running away again. Me and my imagination. Imagination, of course, can open any door. Turn the key and let terror walk right in. Fairy tales have been here first. Her first fairy tales have been her first experience of the magical universe, and more than once she had wondered why people ended up distancing themselves from a world knowing the immense joy that childhood had brought to their lives. She always wanted to believe in things. I think when we find love, we pretend it or ignore it or tell ourselves we're imagining it because it is the most painful kind of hope there is. Imagination is not only the uniquely human capacity to envision that which is not, and therefore the foundation of all invention and innovation, and is arguably a most transformative and revelatory capacity. It is the power that enables us to emphasize with humans whose experiences we have never shared. There are certain children who are told that they are too sensitive, and there are certain adults who believe sensitivity is a problem that can be fixed in the way that crooked teeth can be fixed and made straight. And when these two come together, you get a fairy tale, a kind of story with hopelessness in it. But I believe there is something in these old stories that does what singing does to words. That they have transformational capabilities in the way a melody can transform mood. That they can transform your actual situation, but they can transform your experience of it. We don't create a fantasy world to escape reality. We create it to be able to stay. I believe we have always done this, used images to stand and understand what otherwise would be intolerable. A daily dose of daydreaming heals the heart, soothes the soul, and strengthens the imagination. Dare to dream. If you did not have the capability to make your wildest wishes come true, your mind would not have the capacity to conjure such ideas. In the first place, there is no limitation on what you can potentially achieve, except for the limitation you choose to impose on your own imagination. What you believe to be possible will always come to pass to the extent that you deem it possible. It really is as simple as that. What is a wanderess? What is a wanderess? Bound by no boundaries, contained by no countries, attained by no time. She is the force of nature's course. Of nature's course. A man to be greatly good must imagine intensely and comprehensively, and he must put himself in the place of another and many others. The pains and pleasures of his species must become his own. A great instrument of moral good is the imagination. And what I fear most, I think, is the death of the imagination. A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality. A basis of action is a lack of imagination. It is the last resource of those who know not how to dream. As an imagination she sailed over storied seas that watched the distant shining shores of fairylands forlorn, where lost Atlantis and Elysium lie, with the evening star for pilot to the land of heart's desire. And she was richer in those dreams and realities, for things seen pass away, but the things that are unseen are eternal. Fantasy was always only a reality waiting to be switched on. Maybe heaven will be a library, and I will be able to finish my to speak list. The imaginary is not formed in opposition to reality as its denial or compensation. It grows among signs from book to book, and in the interstice of repetitions and commentaries. It is born and takes shape in the interval between books. It is the phenomena of a library. It is the phenomena of the library. The creative act is a letting down of the human imagination into the ocean of chaos on which we are suspended, and the attempt to bring out of its ideas. It is the night sea journey, the lone fisherman on the tropical sea with his nets, and you let these nets down. Sometimes something tears through them that leaves them in shreds, and you just row for shore and put your head under your bed and pray. And other times what slips through are the minutiae of minnows, of a metaphor of idea chasing. But sometimes you can actually bring home something that is food for the human community, that we can sustain ourselves on and go forward. They spent the first 3 years of school getting you to pretend stuff, and then the rest of it marking you down if you did the same thing. Of those who make us believe that anything's possible and fire our imagination over the long haul are often the ones who have survived the bleakest of circumstances. The men and women who have every reason to despair but don't, may have the most to teach us, not only about how to hold true to our beliefs, but about how such a life can bring about seemingly impossible social change. Being a practiced liar doesn't mean you have a powerful imagination. Maybe good liars have no imagination at all. It's that which gives their lies such wide-eyed conviction. Are you sure this will work? Asked Princess Sophie as she was pulling the cart away from Lady Ariana's cottage. If you believe me, it will work, said Lady Ariana. It is frightfully difficult to know much about fairies, and almost the most only thing for certain is that there are fairies wherever there are children. There are fairies wherever there are children. The universe is not only queer than we suppose, but queer than we suppose. Imagination does not breed insanity. Exactly what does breed insanity is reason. Poets do not go mad, but chess players do. Mathematicians go mad, and cashiers, but creative artists very seldom. I am not, as will be seen in any sense, attacking logic. I only say that this danger does lie in logic, not in imagination. Eureka give me an answer to a question we have never asked, and can be the articulation of a sudden and unforeseen idea of the expression of a magic moment that throws us into a world that acts like a radiant sunbeam that comes out of the blue and illuminates a dim past, opening a new dynamic horizon. It may be a trivial but lucky encounter with new friends who let us be what we are, and our imagination original and undifferentiated and differentiated of your imagination, my dear fellow, is worth more than your imagine. Your imagination, my dear fellow, is worth more than you imagine. Things as they appear every day and as they are engraved in our memory, facts and occurrences is as they are perceived by senses, create an intricate labyrinth in the mind, the way how things are experienced in our environment and how they react in the arsenal of our imagination creates a torrent of inspiring ideas that flood the speedy highways of our brains. Live out of your imagination, not your history. People are seen through a stained glass window of our imagination, the hidden sides of their character. When ideas evaporate, when shapes fade and forms lose their integrity, our imagination can create an outlandish setting and convert everything into a hazy, misty, Turner landscape, black garden of a dream. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was love, and love was imagination. When love takes us through the sun-dappled garden of our imagination, no stalking horses can perturb of a rainbow in our mind of fade out as bright colors reflecting in the blue sky of our memory. Imagination is the voice of daring. If there is anything godlike about God, it is that he dared to imagine everything. God dared to imagine everything. A poor original is better than a good imitation. A poor original is better than a good imitation. We all say we want our kids to be happy, only happy and healthy, but we don't want that. We want them to be like we are, or better than we are. We as humans are very unimaginative in that sense. We aren't equipped for the possibility that they might be worse, but I guess that would be asking too much. It must be an evolutionary stopgap if we were all so specifically, vividly aware of what might go horribly wrong. We would, none of us, have children at all. Stand at the top of a cliff and jump off and build your wings on the way down. A lover exists only in fragments, a dozen or so if the romance is new, 1,000 if we're married to him, and out of those fragments our heart constructs an entire person when we each create, since whatever is missing is filled by our imagination, is the person we wish him to be. The less we know him, of course, the more we love him, and that's why we always remember that first rapturous night when he was a stranger, and why is this rapture returns only when he's dead. I think imagination is at the heart of everything we do. Scientific discoveries couldn't have happened without imagination. Art, music, and literature couldn't exist without imagination, and so anything that strengthens imagination and reading certainly does, that can help us for the rest of our lives. When a scorching passion only leaves ashes of unfulfilled dreams, hope may entice the sprinkling magic of our imagination into livening up the footlights and on a new stage of life, taken for a ride. I remember I used to half believe and wholly play with fairies when I was a child. What heaven can be more real than to retain the spirit world of childhood, tempered and balanced by knowledge and common sense, spitting, rhyming about, hence the meth as we walk through life. Fleeting emotional episodes may keep on a twinkle and curl up in the hive of our recollection and enrich our imagination in the same vein. Aesthetic allurement and poetic gracefulness may possess us, besiege our mind, light up our thinking, and shape our future. Imagination was given to man to compensate him for what he is not. A sense of humor was provided to console him for what he is. The heart of an Irishman is nothing but his imagination. Once our imagination starts collapsing and the fragment of blossoms of our inspiration are wilting petal after petal, our awareness makes shake to its foundations, but nothing might deter us if we find the strength to rediscover the path back to the undifferentiated, the undifferentiated groundedness of our being and the essence of our roots. That there is but one world, and everything that is imaginable is unnecessary to it. For this world also, which seems to us a thing of stone and flour and blood, is not a thing at all, but is a tale, and all in it is a tale, and each tale was sum of lesser tales, all lesser tales, and yet there are also the same tale, and contain as well as all else within them. So everything is necessary, every least thing. This is the third lesson. Nothing can be dispensed with, and nothing despised, because the seams are hid from us. You see the journey, the joinery of a way, and of which the world is made. We have no way to know what could be taken away, what omitted. We have no way to tell what might stand and what might fall, and those seams that are hid from us are, of course, in the tale itself, and the tale has no abode or place of beyond the mysterious beyond, except in a talent only, and there it lives and makes its home, and therefore we can never be done with the talent of the talent. There is no end, and on whatever place, by whatever name, or by no name at all. All tales are one, rightly heard. All tales are one. Lovely is only for creative minds, and is permanent imagination at work, unraveling the wear and tear of killing habits. People always talk like there's a bright line between imagination and memory, but there isn't, at least not for me. I remember what I've imagined and imagine what I remember. Imagination is everything. Fancies are like shadows. I imagine I remember what I imagine. I imagine what I remember. I remember what I imagine. I imagine what I remember, and I remember what I imagine. Fancies are like shadows. You can't cage them. They're such a wayward, dancing things if we don't manage to connect the dots anymore. And the power of our imagination is creaking at the seams in a world of withering expectations. We have to speak the script of our life. I'm narrating the script of my life. Imagination is absolutely critical to the quality of our lives. Our imagination enables us to leave our routine everyday existence by fantasizing about travel, food, sex, falling in love, or having the last word. All the things that make life interesting. Imagination gives us the opportunity to envision new possibilities. It is an essential launch pad for making our hopes come true. It fires our creativity, relieves our boredom, alleviates our pain, enhances our pleasure, and enriches our most intimate relationships. Life can be a wonderful ballet, letting us express all the values that we are living for. If the sky of our imagination remains open to passion, a glimpse of the future, whereas some dwell on the bright side of a life, enjoying on an exciting spectrum of contingencies, and get all the breaks. Others live in the confined inner court of their being, cramped within the fence of their mind. Only imagination may arouse a spark of expectation, stir up our resilience and create an equitable prospect. If our thoughts are slumping down into a muddling pile of oblivion, we must empower our minds to go beyond vain details or useless conventions, scanning the reach on the horizon, and the challenge of our imagination can allow us to recognize the essentials of the human condition and achieve harmony in our lives with knowledge that's limited, with imagination. All things are it's limitless. With knowledge, it's limited. With imagination, it's limitless. When a storm of harassment disturbs our thinking and brings us down to our knees, the umbrella of our imagination can shield us against destructive aggression. It is offering shelter and is teaching us how to conquer ourselves, train our resilience and grit our teeth. We better learn to adopt the virtue of endurance. That life consists of both passion and patience. My infinite imagination, my infinite world of imagination, annihilation equation. I have an infinite world of imagination inside of my head, speaking and ending again.